Hello everybody, welcome back to Cushion Corner. Today, we're going to be making a rant video. You'll see what that is as I go. The topic we're going to be covering is Sleep Token in the Grammys. Now they got nominated with Emergence being Best Metal Song of 2025. That is what their nomination is. So I'm going to be going over a couple different topics here. So the first is going to be my stance as a Sleep Token fan. Do I think they should have gotten it? Why do I think they got it? Is Sleep Token metal? I know that's a pretty controversial one. And who would I nominate for this award? So there's going to be time frame links in the description below. So if you're really wanting to know about one of these topics in particular, just go down there, click that. There you go. So let's get right into it. My stance as a Sleep Token fan. How big of a fan really am I? Or am I just some dude on the internet hating on them? I do happen to be a pretty big Sleep Token fan. I have most of their songs liked on Spotify through all of their albums, all of the years. And I tend to listen to them to a very, very large extent. I would consider them my favorite band, and I do listen to a lot of music at work. Kind of briefly went over this in my first vlog, but I have a job where I can just sit and listen to Spotify all day, and so I've explored tons of bands, and Sleep Token is my number one band. That's kind of where I stand with this. Do I think they should have gotten it? I do think that they should get a Grammy. I do think that. I don't think that Emergence should be the Grammy that they're getting for Best Metal Song of 2025. This should not be their award. I'm sorry. All the other Sleep Token fans are going to be all sorts of mad at me. I don't think that they should have gotten it. I'm glad that they are getting a Grammy, and I'm happy for them as a band because they've really exploded the last couple of years. But I really don't think anything in even an Arcadia album I would consider to be stellar. When I first heard the album, I actually didn't like it at all. I only liked, put on my Spotify liked list 2 or 3 of the songs. I really didn't like it. I've come around to it since. And then since Spotify just put lossless mode on, that kind of remedied a lot of the mixing mistakes that I thought were there. Since then, I do like the album. I will say I like the album. It is far from what I would be considering the greatest album of all time. That, I believe, belongs to The Summoning, but that is for another video. So I don't think that they should have gotten a Grammy. And the reason why I don't think that they should have gotten a Grammy for Emergence being metal song is Emergence is not a metal song. There is nothing particularly metal about Emergence. It has the metal influence with the guitars, especially during the final chorus where the heavy guitars come in and it's really powerful. That has metal influence, and I do understand that metal is a pretty wide genre of music, but the overall premise of the song is not metal enough for me to consider it a metal award-worthy song. Rock, sure. Heavy rock, sure. I can get those. But it's got pop influence, it's got some hip hop, it's got that saxophone at the end. It's not really a metal song. It's a very creative song, but it's just not metal. So why do I think that they got it then? Well, I do think it has to do with popularity. Because they added the saxophone at the end of the song, everybody was like, hey, this isn't like every other pop song on everywhere, on the radio, in the stores. This actually has a little bit of creativity put into it, and so it blew up. And I think it's because of the saxophone. Only because Sleep Token has been making music like Emergence without the saxophone for a while now. This new album was pretty pop-based, and they strayed away from their rock roots. But besides that, the saxophone is the only thing that's different. And it was memed about, and everybody was pretty blown away by that because a saxophone was in a rock song. This isn't the first time it's happened, but it's not a very common thing, and it's uncommon enough that it's going to get popularity and hit the charts. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think that the song is great. Emergence is probably my second favorite, maybe third. I think Caramel is probably my first, or Caramel. I guess he says caramel, so maybe I should call it Caramel. But that's probably my first favorite, and then followed by Even in Arcadia, the song. But regardless, it is a good song by itself, but it is just what they've been doing. Taking Me Back to Eden, the whole album, was pretty much what Emergence song is. And so it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why that particular song got so much popularity, except the saxophone. And now here's where my issue comes in with this. If they are choosing Emergence over Caramel when it comes to metal song, because they both got pretty popular, then the reason why they chose it is because of popularity. Because Caramel is unarguably more of a metal song than Emergence. Emergence may have more guitars throughout it, but Caramel literally has like a metal breakdown. It's pretty awesome. Or even Infinite Baths. Infinite Baths has a disgustingly awesome breakdown at the end of it. So they chose Emergence because of popularity. And my issue with this is, yes, I do think that in order for a song to get a Grammy, it should at least have some cultural influence, something that like really brings people together over one song. I do think that should be a factor. But if the popularity is what's driving the decision, then that's when you get stuff like the new Taylor Swift album being elected for Grammys. And like a lot of these TikTok famous songs being elected for Grammys. That's what happens when stuff is driven off of popularity and not out of talent. That's like, you go back to bands like Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Metallica, even people like the Cranberries, Linkin Park, like that range of time. The songs were phenomenal, and that's why they got popular. Versus now, the songs are trendy, and that's why they get popular. Going back to my point of popularity shouldn't drive it, if we're choosing trendy songs to win Grammys just because they're popular, when you look back on these songs in 30 years or 20 years, no one's even going to remember them. No one's going to think of them. They're never going to be talked about past this point. That shouldn't be winning Grammys. It shouldn't be. So going back to Emergence, I do think that the song is great. Despite how much I've been hating on all of these modern pop songs winning Grammys, I do think that the song is good. It's just in the wrong category, and it's only in that category because people categorized Sleep Token as a metal band, and so they're kind of lumped into this metal subgenre of like blending genres metal type of thing. That leads me pretty well into my next point. Do I think Sleep Token is metal? As I just said, they have been lumped into the metal group from people claiming them as metal. Sleep Token themselves haven't really formally expressed what genre they make, and I think that there was like one interview quite a while ago, back before they were super famous, that was saying that they don't really like to conform themselves to one genre and just kind of pick whatever fits, which I think is awesome. They're not the first band to genre blend, but they are doing it really well. So no, I don't think that Sleep Token is metal.
Not metal?
What?
Not metal? God, get a load of this guy. He thinks Sleep Token's not metal. Have you even listened to him? Are you deaf? You're probably one of those guys that just thinks it's like Pantera or nothing. Because if it doesn't sound like your favorite 70s or 80s metal band, it's not metal. Because music can't evolve past the 80s, because the 80s rule.
Are you done yet?
Have you even listened to Vor? You've probably only heard like Chokehold and Emergence, maybe like in a store somewhere. Have you listened to Vor? You haven't listened to Vor, huh? Vor, man. Listen to Vor and tell me it's not metal.
Here's why they're not metal. You can go away now.
Yeah, whatever. You know what? It's just because you haven't listened to Vor.
Go.
You need to listen to Vor because that
go away.
song's metal, okay?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I can't even believe you, man.
I understand
you
you're
don't
mad.
think Sleep Token's
Okay.
metal. Fine, I'll get out of here. Whatever.
I get it. Here's why I say they're not metal. Because true metal bands have a lot more metal songs than Sleep Token does. Any Instagram comment that is on a video claiming that they're not metal is like, but you haven't heard Vor. Yes, Vor is metal. Gods is metal. They have some metal breakdowns like at the end of Infinite Baths. I get it.
Vor.
I get it. Just because you have some metal songs and you are a genre blending band does not mean that you are a metal band. There's nothing metal about a general Sleep Token song. They are definitely rock. I would consider Sleep Token rock, even heavy rock, not metal. They are not metal, and as I said before, I am a huge Sleep Token fan, and I'm annoyed at all the hate that they're getting because people have listed them as a metal band, and metalheads are getting mad at that, which I understand. Because if metal goes the way that Sleep Token makes their music, metal won't be anymore. Metal's going to be soft pop and R&B beats with a little breakdown here and there that is like not quite heavy enough to offend somebody, but heavy enough to turn some people away. That's where metal's going to go. That is not where metal should go. Sleep Token's not a metal band. They are a rock band. They have some metal songs. They have some pop songs. Like Past Self in the new album, that's like a full-on pop song. There's nothing rock about that thing. If I go to a different band, you know what? Let's go to Bad Omens because I'll be talking about them anyways. If you go to Bad Omens, their newest album, now they're coming out with a new one, which I'm stoked for, but their newest album before this newest one was Death of Peace of Mind. In this, I would consider it fairly similar to the Sleep Token album, funny enough. Like, similar to Take Me Back to Eden, where you have some metal influence, but that's not really like a metal album overall. But as soon as you dip down even a little bit into their discography, it is straight metal. Bad Omens is a straight metal band anywhere underneath A Death of Peace of Mind. And you can still hear those metal influences in their new songs. They've just simply evolved as a band. They've gone away a little bit from like more of the thrash metal-y type of sound into more of a basic, like, creatively free sound. So going over all of this, who would I nominate for this metal award? My two main bands that I would nominate is either Unprocessed or Spirit Box. Unprocessed is a prog metal band, which aren't super well known, so I know that they wouldn't get it. But if you guys haven't checked them out and you like metal music, which if you're watching this video, you probably do, go check out their stuff. Because their stuff is metal, it's heavy, it's complicated, and it's awesome. Spirit Box is Spirit Box. There's not really a whole lot of hate towards Spirit Box, I don't feel like. I mean, they're a little heavy for me. Most of these like actual metal bands are normally pretty heavy for me. I don't normally tend to go into the full screamo stuff. Every once in a while I do get into it, and Unprocessed is my favorite of those like heavy metal bands. If they had released an album in 2025, I would have elected either Bring Me the Horizon or Bad Omens if they had released an album in 2025. They did not, but Bring Me the Horizon and Bad Omens are up there with some of my favorite bands. Bring Me the Horizon a little bit less so because once again they're a little too heavy for me. Bad Omens is a phenomenal band. So that's who I would nominate. So to wrap everything up, I'm a huge Sleep Token fan. I don't think that they should be getting a metal award for Emergence. Let me emphasize metal again, because I do think it's a great song, and the saxophone was pretty cool at the end of it. So they shouldn't have been getting that. I do think that there are simply just better bands for the genre and better songs to elect, and Emergence was only elected based off popularity. So that's all I got for this subject. Let me know if you've got any thoughts or ideas about it. I can imagine that some people probably will. But for now, that's all I got. Later, guys. See you in the next one.